Welcome to Life Lessons from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I join you today from Sydney, Australia. So I will chant some verses of invocation, and while waiting for our friends, here we are going live on Instagram as well. And some verses to chant. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 4. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 17. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punyashravana kirtana hridyantasto hyabhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. I'll chant one more verse. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 18. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Welcome, Nikunja, joining us from Auckland, New Zealand. Nikunja says, Hare Krishna, Shri Prahlad Prabhu. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Great to be in your association. Shama Manjari says, Hare Krishna, Shri Prahlad Prabhuji. Thank you, Shama Manjari, joining us from South Africa. And Kirtida is with us from Norway. Kirtida sends gratitude. Welcome, Kirtida. On Instagram, we have Prasanna Nomula. We have Jitendra Kashyap. Jitendra Kashyap 242. We have Devahuti. We have Bhagavatom. Nice play of words here. Bhagavatam, Tom. And then Dop Bapan 99 and A Sweet Mantra are all with us. Thank you for joining. So today I join you from Sydney, Australia for this class. I'm in Australia for a couple of weeks. And so it's nice to be back in Australia as well. And I'm grateful that I was able to make it on time to give this class. Our topic today is the legacy of Krishna's Dvaraka Pastimes. So here we say family, Dharma, and Devotees, the legacy of Krishna's Dvaraka Pastimes. And we are at the very, very end of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. This is chapter 90, and these are the second half of chapter 90. In our previous verse, we discussed the wonderful Mahisha Gita. Mahishi Gita. Mahishi refers to the queens of Dvaraka and their song. Very wonderful. And our acharyas explain that it exemplifies prema vaichitya, or love in separation. And so after giving us the Mahishi Gita, then Sukadeva Goswami has some final words, some final description of Krishna in Dwarka before he concludes this 90th chapter of the 10th canto, and not just the chapter, but he concludes the canto itself. And so today we're discussing those final words of Sukadeva Goswami. We are discussing verses 29 to 50 to conclude the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're going to discuss these verses under three headings. 1, Krishna's family legacy. 2, Krishna's Dharma mission. And 3, the fruit of hearing. Krishna's family legacy, this is verses 29 to 43. Sorry. Sukadeva Goswami tells us how, after Krishna fulfilled the highest standards of householder dharma, householder life, he did so by maintaining more than 16,100 princesses or queens. And among these many jewel-like queens, then there were 8 in particular who were most prominent and important, and among them Rukmini is the chief queen. And when we read the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, she is the first queen that is described. Krishna's marriage to Rukmini is the first description we get once Krishna moves to Dvaraka. Until then, he was residing in Mathura and defending Mathura against Muchukunda, and then at the very end, Muchukunda and Kalyavana. And after he defeats Kalyavana and I said defending from Muchukunda, not Muchukunda, Jarasandha. So after he defeats Muchukunda and runs away from Jarasandha, even though he's defeated Jarasandha 17 times, now the 18th time, Krishna and Balaram run away. And the next description we get is Krishna's receiving a letter from, or a message from Rukmini. So that's the first major significant activity after Krishna moves to Dwarka and begins his Dwaraka pastime. So Rukmini is the first and principal queen. Sukadeva Goswami, he tells us, he said, as I've already described the stories of these 8 principal queens, plus the additional 16,100 in earlier chapters. And he says, and I described their sons as well. He said Krishna begot 10 sons in each of his 16,108 wives. That's a lot of sons. And then he says, among these sons, then there were 18 that were Maharatas. So what's a Maharata? A Maharata is a great chariot fighter, someone who's like a commander, general. And so 18 of Krishna's many sons were recognized. They were at the rank, the military, they possessed the military rank of Maharata. They were able to fight on battle with a chariot and lead great numbers of soldiers. Of these 18, one of them stands out. So Sukadeva Goswami, who's told us from the 16,108 queens, one of them is principal, and that's Rukmini. So then he says, those queens had each 10 sons. 18 of those stand out as Maharatas, and among those 18, then there is one who can anticipate his name. So I'm pausing here, just giving you time to reflect. And if you said Pradyumna, then you had the right answer. Sukadeva Goswami says the great warrior Pradyumna, he was most prominent. He's the first among Krishna's sons. He married the daughter of Rukmi, who was his uncle. So Rukmini is his mother. Rukmi is his uncle. And then his uncle has a daughter named Rukmavati. Rukmi, and now Rukmavati. Actually, I had a teacher in school. Her name was Mother Rukmavati. So Rukmavati, the wife of Pradyumna. Krishna is married to Rukmini, and then Krishna's son is married, Pradyumna, his most prominent son. Pradyumna is married to Rukmavati. And they have a son. So last little quiz here. Who was the son? Who's the name of the son of Krishna's most prominent son and his wife Rukmavati? Their son's name is Aniruddha. And so then we get the Chaturvyuha, because Krishna is Vasudev, Balaram is Shankarshana, and then Krishna's first son, Pradyumna, and then his grandson, Aniruddha. Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are three very important personalities in the Chaturvyuha and the Pancharatra system that is based on the worship of the Chaturvyuha, these four personalities. Okay, so Aniruddha, he marries the son of Rukmi's daughter. And so, staying in the family here. So Aniruddha marries Rukmini's son's daughters, means he's married Rukmi's granddaughter. He's married Rukmi's granddaughter. Her name is Arochana. So we know that Aniruddha married Usha. Usha and Aniruddha, a very famous love story in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Usha, of course, the daughter of the demon who becomes a devotee, Banasura. And Aniruddha has another wife, and that is Rochana, who is the granddaughter of Rukmi. And they have a child. And this child is also very, very special. So this child is now Krishna's great-grandson. Grandson is Aniruddha, and now the great-grandson is... Let's see if anyone's going to give the name on Instagram, or Krishna's great-grandson. Here we are, Nikunja. has given us the name. It is Vajranab. Very good. So the Krishna's great-grandson, his name is, Sukadeva Goswami tells us his name is Vajra. Vajra. So without the Nab in the Bhagavatam, the name is Vajra. Sukadeva Goswami says that Vajra, he would remain among the few survivors after the Yadu's battle with clubs. Vajra is one of the few survivors. And Vajra, after Krishna leaves this world, then Dvaraka city sinks into the sea. And it's Vajra who leads the remaining Yadus. I'm stepping ahead of myself a little here, and takes the capital back to Mathura. But that's for another canto. That's the 11th canto. And right now we're focused on the 10th. Vajra, he has a son named Subahu. Subahu has a son named Santasena. So now Krishna's great-great-great-great-grandson. And Sukadeva Goswami says, no one in this family was poor in wealth or progeny. None of the family were short-lived or weak, and none were neglectful of Brahminical culture. Prabhupada always says that his mission is one of his missions, to reestablish Brahminical culture. Doesn't necessarily mean everyone becomes Brahmins, but we live according to the Brahminical values, the culture. Sukadeva Goswami further says, the Yadu dynasty produced innumerable great men of famous deeds. And so now beyond Krishna's immediate family, his sons and grandsons, he says the Yadu family employed 38,800,000 teachers just to educate their children. He says, who can count the great Yadus when among them King Ugrasena alone was accompanied by an entourage of many trillions of attendants? Okay, so we can pause here. Excuse me. And we can reflect on Krishna's family, his family legacy. And also, so this is one side of Krishna's activities. 16,108 wives, children, grandchildren. So that takes a lot of energy and effort. But alongside supporting this family, Krishna, he was protecting everyone else. He's protecting the citizens. He's protecting the world. And so we see then this achievement of this great family that Krishna supported becomes even greater. And then when we heard earlier about Narad Muni visiting Krishna's palaces, we see how Krishna is living at home with his family, and he's living a very religious and dharmic life with his family. And so Krishna shows us the example of an engaged religious family life. In the Gita, Krishna says, 9:11, Dharma virudo bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. He says, I am that kama, that desire, which is dharma virudha, which supports dharma, we can say in the positive, which protects dharma. And we see that wonderful example in Krishna's family life. His legacy are these many, many powerful sons and grandsons. And his great-grandson is Vajranab. So he returns the capital to Mathura. But the other wonderful thing he does, and Nikunja has given his name here. And she'll know the name because of what he did in Vrindavan. And that is he established deities and temples to commemorate the places of Krishna's pastimes. So deities like Radha Govinda in Vrindavan, or they say Dauji Balaram on the other side of the Yamuna from Mathura, or Haridev in Govardhan. These are all deities that are said to have been established by Vajranab, or Vajra, Krishna's grandson. There's a famous story about the carving of the three famous deities, Govinda, Gopinath, and Madan Mohan, that when he was having those deities carved, he asked local Brajvasis who had seen Krishna, he asked when Madan Mohan was carved, he said, does this deity look like Krishna? And they said, his feet look very much like Krishna's feet. So he had another deity carved, and it was Govinda. And he asked, how about this deity? Does it look like Krishna? And they said, his middle portion looks very much like Krishna. And then they carved another deity that was Gopinath. And they asked, how does this look like Krishna? And they said, this deity looks very much like Krishna. His face and his shoulders, they look very much like Krishna, particularly in his youth when he was dancing with the gopis. So yeah, that's Vajranab, Krishna's grandson. In terms of practical application for you and I, we should strive for this nice balance that Krishna demonstrates in his personal and professional responsibilities. Krishna's upholding Dharma at home, dharmic, ethical, spiritual values. He's doing the same. He's upholding Dharma in the city of Dvaraka and in the broader realm more broadly, supporting other dharmic kings. And so maintaining family, maintaining righteousness in the world, Krishna is fostering a legacy of strength and wisdom and positive influence for future generations. And so that's something that we can take home. We should be exemplary and virtuous in our dealings at home. And then we should also be virtuous and have integrity in our dealings outside of home as well, in our dealings with others, in our dealings within the community. Okay, let's go to our second topic, Krishna's Dharma mission, verses 45 to 48. Sukadeva Goswami tells us that the savage descendants of Diti, who had been killed in past ages in battles between the demigods and the demons, took birth among human beings and arrogantly harassed the general populace. So this is an important little note Sukadeva Goswami is giving us here, because it is the context of Krishna's appearance, and it is also justification for Krishna's killing Jarasanda's 17 armies, or the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where millions of men were opposed one another in battle. One side supporting Yudhisthira Maharaj and the Pandavas, who were supporting Dharma, and the other side, Duryodhana and his henchmen, different demoniac kings, posing as the royal order and their armies. So we were told at the very beginning of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhumi Devi, she raised the alarm. She noted that many demons were appearing on earth in royal families, Kshatriya families, posing as kings, And she recognized this as an invasion of the earth, and she went to Brahma in the shape of a cow. That's how she evokes Brahma's sympathy and others as well. With tears in her eyes, she sounded the alarm, and Brahma took this very seriously. He led a delegation of devatas, of demigods, to Krishna and asked Krishna what to do. Vishnu residing at Kiradaka, the Milk Ocean. And Krishna said that I will take birth on earth to deal with this, and I'm asking all the demigods to take birth as well in the Yaru and Vrishni families. And then we didn't really have reference to it since then. Now, 90 chapters later, Sukadeva Goswami tells us the savage descendants of Diti. Diti is the mother of the demons, one of the wives of Kashyapa. Diti, mother of demons like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. And Aditi, her co-wife, mother of demigods like Indra, Vayu, Agni, and so on. And so here Sukadeva says, the savage descendants of Diti who had been killed in past ages in battles between the demigods and demons took birth among human beings and arrogantly harassed the general populace. What are some examples of these demons who harassed the general populace that it's important for Krishna to kill? Of course, you can say Shishupal, Shalva, Dantavakra. You can list the names of demons, but what are the examples of their harassing the general people? We don't have a lot. That Sukadeva Goswami doesn't describe that so much in the Bhagavatam. Vivida, he's described how he would harass the general population by going to the ocean and causing tidal waves that devastated coastal communities, or going to mountaintops and causing avalanches that destroyed villages and towns in the valleys of these great mountains. But that was Vivida. He was Krishna. He was a devotee of Ram initially. He had gone bad because of evil or demoniac association. And his friend that he was particularly disturbed after his being killed by Krishna, his friend is Narakasura. Narakasura is a good example of a demon who harasses the general population. How? He had kidnapped 16,100 princesses from around the world and kept them in his palace. So he is a real troublemaker. Imagine somebody kidnapping the daughters of the heads of state from around the world and keeping them captive in some castle somewhere. So Narakasura, we get some description of how he was harassing people. The other is Jarasandha. What did Jarasandha do? So we know that he attacked Mathura 18 times, and that Krishna had to move the population of Mathura to Dvaraka to protect them in a city, and there's an island just off the coast of the sea, so they could be protected. But when Krishna went with Arjuna and Bhima and eventually defeated Jarasandha, he was doing this to liberate 22,000 kings that Jarasandha had kidnapped and kept prisoner. So yeah, these people, they were real troublemakers. Narakasura, Jarasandha. And then we can assume that their friends like Shishupal, Dantavakra, Shalva were similarly harassing of other people, that Krishna needed to appear in an incarnation or to make an appearance to subdue these demons. Sukadev Goswami says, so Krishna appeared in the Yadu family to destroy these demons, and the Yadus, they accepted him as their ultimate authority. Ugrasen Maharaj was the king, sitting on the throne, but Krishna was accepted as their ultimate authority because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vrishnis as well, they were always absorbed in thinking of Krishna, so much absorbed in thinking of Krishna that they forgot their own bodies while sleeping, eating, walking, conversing, playing, and so on. Sukadev Goswami says, the Ganges is holy. The Ganges is a holy place of pilgrimage because her waters wash Krishna's lotus feet. And when he descended among the Yadus, his glories eclipsed the Ganges as a holy place. Those who hated Krishna and those who loved Krishna attained eternal forms like his in the spiritual sky. That's how merciful Krishna is. The unattainable and supremely self-satisfied goddess of fortune, for whose sake and favor everyone else struggles, belongs to Krishna alone. He says, Sukadeva Goswami says, Krishna's name destroys all inauspiciousness when heard and chanted. He alone has set forth the principles of various disciplic successions of sages. And he says, what wonder it is that he, whose personal weapon is the wheel of time, appeared on earth and performed pastimes. Krishna, who is known as Jananivas, the Krishna Jananivas means that he resides within the hearts of all living beings, and who is called Devakinandana or Yasodanandana. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty, and with his mighty arms, he destroys everything that is inauspicious. By his presence, he destroys all inauspiciousness for all living entities, moving and non-moving. His blissful, smiling face always increases the desire of his queens and the gopis of Vrindavan. And Sukadeva Goswami says, may he be all glorious and happy. May Krishna be all glorious and happy. Generally, we ask Krishna for his mercy, we'll glorify him, we'll ask for his blessing. And here, Sukadeva Goswami, very interesting, he's offering a blessing to Krishna. May he be all glorious and happy. That's quite wonderful. So we can pause and reflect here. I've been reflecting, but we can just think about how Krishna's divine mission was to protect Dharma and eliminate those who oppose Dharma. The demigods appearing among the Yadus, they worked alongside Krishna to subdue the demoniac forces and restore Dharma, the dharmic balance in the world. And so if we think about how Krishna and the demigods have appeared on earth to protect and restore and preserve Dharma, then we must also think of that as our purpose as well. We must be preservers of Dharma, we must be protectors of Dharma, we must seek to be a force for good in the world. Truth, compassion, cleanliness, self-discipline. These are basic principles of Dharma, and we must uphold them in the world. When we avoid gambling, that also contributes to the preserving of truth. When we avoid meat eating, that also contributes to the cultivation of compassion in the world. When we avoid intoxication, that contributes to the upholding of the principle of discipline. And when we avoid illicit sex, that contributes to the principle of cleanliness. So these four in particular, they are said to be pillars of Dharma. And when we protect them, we protect Dharma, and then Dharma protects us. It connects us with the universal order. It connects us with Krishna. True strength comes from connection with Krishna and his Dharma, his authority. And so we can foster this connection through Dharma, that is righteousness, and then through bhakti, through devotion. That's our primary focus and concern. And when we do this, we can more easily navigate the challenges of life with courage and integrity, and we can be a force for good in the world. Let's go to our final section then. Just two more verses. And Sukadeva Goswami says, these verses 49 and 50. Sukadeva Goswami says, to protect the principles of devotional service to himself, Lord Krishna, the best of yadus, accepts the pastime forms that have been glorified here in the Bhagavatam. One who desires to faithfully serve his lotus feet should hear the activities he performed in his different incarnations. Activities that imitate the forms that he assumes. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, and so on. Hearing the narrations of these pastimes destroys the reactions to fruitive work. And then we have one final verse, verse 50, to conclude the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Excuse me. I'll chant the Sanskrit for this final verse. Martyasthayanu sabam edhit Martyasthayanu sabam editya mukunda Srimad Katha Shravana Kirtana Chintyati Tadharma Dusthara Kritanta Javapavagram Gramadvanam Shittibuja Pyayor Yadartha. Sukadeva Goswami says, by regularly hearing, chanting, and meditating on the beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda, with ever-increasing sincerity, a mortal being will attain the divine kingdom of God. There we are, we're blessed. Where the inviolable power of birth and death holds no sway. For this purpose, many persons, including great kings, abandoned their mundane homes and took to the forest. There's Sukadeva Goswami's final instruction to us. By engaging and hearing and chanting Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, Krishna's pastimes, we will attain the kingdom of God. We will achieve Vaikuntha. We will achieve Goloka. Srimat Katha Shravana Kirtana Chintayati. Srimad Katha, this auspicious, this transcendental description, to discuss it, Katha Shravana, to hear, Kirtana, to glorify, Chintayati, means to think about it, to remember it. This activity will award us eternal residence in the spiritual world. So it begins with hearing. It begins with hearing about Krishna as described in the Bhagavatam. Hearing means reading as well. When we're reading or hearing from Sukadeva Goswami, then we are in good association. So hearing from Sukadeva Goswami and those in the parampara, in the tradition of Sukadeva Goswami. By listening to Krishna's pastimes, our heart is purified and the reactions to fruitive activities are destroyed. And this practice leads to kirtan, leads to chanting. And the chanting then leads to chintayati, to remembering, to reflecting on Krishna's divine activities. And then this cultivates faith, awakens faith in the heart, and then such faith grants entry into Krishna's intimate service and ultimately to our return to the eternal spiritual world. And the Bhagavatam describes many, many kings and sages who forsook their worldly comforts for this spiritual pursuit. And so that teaches us as well that true fulfillment comes from dedicating our lives to Krishna's loving service and embracing this Shravan, Kirtan, and Chintayati. So hearing, glorifying, and meditating on Krishna's divine pastimes. Okay, I will conclude with a summative prayer. And in the meantime, if you have any comments or questions, you can write them in the chat and we'll just explore what we've discussed a little further. Beloved Krishna, divine guardian of Dharma, your boundless Dvaraka household of wisdom and grace. In your boundless Dvaraka household of wisdom and grace, you upheld righteousness and nurtured a lineage of valor. Teach us to balance our worldly duties, to uphold ethical and spiritual values as you did, guiding your expansive family with unwavering righteousness. Krishna, Supreme Protector, you descended at the request of the Goddess of Fortune to shield her from chaos. The demigods followed you, embodying justice and light. Help us confront adversity with courage, aligning our lives with higher principles, to stand against injustice and bring harmony to the earthly realm. O Lord, who sanctifies all places with your divine feet, by hearing your pastimes, our hearts are cleansed, leading us to chant and reflect on your eternal glory. Grant us the strength to forsake worldly allurements, to immerse in your loving service, transforming our lives through devotion and righteousness, guiding us always with your blissful, smiling face. May your name, which destroys all inauspiciousness, reside in our hearts and on our lips, fostering a legacy of strength, wisdom, and love, that future generations may flourish in your divine light. O Krishna, may your glory forever shine in your devotees' lives. Let me acknowledge some of you who joined after I started speaking. And in the meantime, any questions, reflections, comments, please do share. So Viren is with us. Viren says, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Viren, thank you so much for joining us. You've become a regular now in these classes, and I'm grateful for your presence and association. Janaki is with us from Hungary. Janaki says, Hari Bol from Janaki Dasi. Welcome, Janaki. Glad you could join us. Grateful for your presence. Vijay says, Jai Shri Krishna. Radhe, Radhe. Welcome, Vijay. Thank you for being with us for this Bhagavata Katha. We just concluded the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. And what we're going to do now in the next class will be some summaries to just review the 10th canto. Ananda Kirtan joins us from Sydney, Australia, where I am presently located as well. I arrived here yesterday. Ananda Kirtan picked me up at the airport. And so Ananda's on the other side of the harbour bridge, but we are in the same city. Nikunja has given her answer here. Vajranab. Kirtida in Norway says, beautiful prayer. Grateful for the class. Thank you, Kirtida. I'm grateful for your presence. So some friends with us on Instagram. We have Soham Kataria 12. Thank you for being here. Shibatyai is with us. Hey, Hari Raval is with us from New York. Great to see you, Hari. Thank you for joining us. Shakar Sushmita is with us. Shakar says, Hare Krishna. Thank you for being here. Shaka Tulsi is with us. Tulsi MDD. Let's see. Sundaram is here. Patrali says Radhe Radhe. 91 Parveen is here. And then Earth Mother Lover says Krishna is the guna of goodness, which is what is needed to be brought to the forefront of humanity to regain equanimity. Correct? Thank you for the question. Earth Mother Lover. Krishna protects the earth and he establishes goodness. So your question is based on the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. Brahma, he presides over, so these are the three guna avatars. Brahma presides over Rajas, or the mode of passion. Lord Shiva presides over the mode of ignorance or destruction. So Brahma creator, Shiva destroyer. And then Vishnu presides over goodness, and he maintains the worlds. So Krishna, he presides over, but he himself transcends the modes of nature. He exists before the modes of nature come into existence by his desire. So he is himself, because you said Krishna is the guna of goodness, but no, he transcends goodness. He is Suddha Sattva, transcendental goodness, existing prior to this creation. He is the source of the creation. He is the source of the three modes of material nature. And his form is Satchit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Eternity, knowledge, and bliss, they are the spiritual qualities. So the material nature, Prakriti, has qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And the spiritual nature, the spiritual energy, has the qualities of Satchit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. There is a correlation there are correlations between the spiritual and the material, because the material is a reflection or a shadow reflection of the spiritual. And so the personifications of these three modes, Rajas is personified he's ruled by Brahma, but his wife, his consort is Saraswati. So knowledge and passion, Rajas, they correlate. And then the tamasic potency that Shiva rules, but then his consort is Durga, personified material nature. And then the consort of Vishnu is Lakshmi, so she embodies the goodness principle as well. So there are correlations, but they are distinct. The three qualities of the material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the three qualities of the spiritual nature, Sattva, Rajas, Satchit, Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Thank you, Earth Mother Lover, for your question. There's some more comments here as well. Okay, there's lots of questions. Is Kamsa considered a demon or a human? Figuratively shows how power and control created demoniac ignorance in nature. Yes. So Kamsa is a demon. He was one of the great demons of that time when Krishna made his appearance. He killed Krishna's 6 brothers, sons of Devaki at birth. And he sent Utana to kill many other children when Krishna was born. So yeah, Kamsa is a big demon. Okay, let's see. Back here we have a comment from Ananda Kirtan who says, "Wonderful class. Thank you, Ananda Kirtan." Shameshwari says, "Thanks, Prabhuji. Awesome class and prayer. Thank you." Nikunja says, "Thank you, Prabhu. I was reading about the symbols of Krishna, and the thunderbolt reminds us of Vajranab establishing shrines, temples, deities. Please enlighten us on this relation." Ah, nice. Okay. So I hadn't considered that relation before. But yes, the Krishna's lotus feet include the symbols of a thunderbolt, and then Krishna's son is named Vajra, which means thunderbolt. But then you're you're linking the two, which is nice, and seeing Vajra as symbolizing the establishing of temples and shrines, which is a nice connection. I hadn't considered that previously. So Krishna's lotus feet include the symbols of the lotus and an umbrella and a flag, a conch, a bow, many fish, many auspicious things. And there are nice descriptions given about each of the symbols and how we can meditate on them as well. And so offering that as a meditation, linking that Vajra on Krishna's lotus foot to Vajra, the grandson, who then establishes those pastime places, is very nice. I like that connection. Thank you. Yeah, very nice insight. Okay, I'm scanning here on Instagram for any last comments. Earth Lover says, "Ram Ram, thank you for opening up a share." Yeah, you're most welcome. Okay, so we will conclude here. Thank you all so much for your presence, participation, and engagement. I'm grateful for your association, and I look forward to seeing you for our next class in according to our regular scheduled time. Grantaraj, no, let me offer some prayers first. May you deepen your taste for hearing and chanting, remembering Krishna. May you deepen your taste for chanting Krishna's holy name. May you deepen your appreciation for the holy Dham, where Krishna's pastimes are performed. May you deepen your appreciation for the deity, Sri Vigraha, where Krishna comes into our homes, comes to our temples to accept our services in a very personal and intimate way. May you deepen your appreciation and love for Krishna's devotees. It is by the mercy of the devotees that we receive the seed of bhakti. And through this cultivation of bhakti, may your heart soften with compassion for all living beings that moves you to share the treasures of bhakti far and wide with others. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Harival.